Welcome into the Stardom Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Steph McKinney, joined as always by Jacob Stevens and Ashton Mitchell. Turkey Day is in the past, guys. Thanksgiving is successfully over. We're in the final week of the regular season of fantasy football for most people, unless you're in a smaller league. I'm actually in a Yahoo league with just 8 teams, and apparently we play next week as well, which is
interesting.
Yeah. I
Is
just
it
saw that
a
out.
2-week playoff, or do you play in week 17?
Yeah, it's week 15 and 16. Only 4 teams make the playoffs.
Wow.
A little bit different. But for most people, this is the last week of the regular season. I know Jacob and I were talking about a little bit earlier about, there's a couple leagues we're in where this week is going to decide if you're in or you're out. Right on that line of being in or out. A lot of people are experiencing some of the same things. So hopefully we can provide a little guidance here today to get you over that hump, win your matchup this week, and get yourself right on into those playoffs, fighting for that championship glory. What about you guys? Are you guys in that predicament?
As you mentioned, we were discussing it earlier, so I am deep in that predicament with 2 leagues especially, and one that's really near and dear to my heart, which is our main league. And I will say again, for the record, I am the highest scorer by 0.2 points, but I am the highest scorer, and I am 5-7, and it breaks my heart, Fredo. So basically, I have a couple things I need to happen this week, but I have a couple guarantees because 2 of the people. I needed 2 of 3 to lose, and 2 of them are in the same matchup, including Ashton here. So hopefully he loses and gets out of the playoffs. But I also need another one of our friends, Jackson. I need him to lose, and I just need to win. Easy peasy. But, I got Tyreek killed last week, if you will, 51 points. And now I've got Dalvin Cook, who is the second highest projected player in fantasy sports this week. Well, it's fantasy football. Really, it's kind of scary, daunting, but I think I can do it. So yeah, that's my goal. Just this league. That's the only one I care about.
I believe in yourself. What about you, Ashton? Clearly, you're on the same spot since Jacob needs you to lose to kick you on out.
Listen, I'm just gonna go with what it is right now, and right now I'm set up in the playoffs in all 4 leagues. So until something changes.
Proud of you.
Ride that confidence,
Very nice. I'm locked in to the playoffs in that league, so I'm happy about that. Regardless of what happens, I'm in. So I'm excited. I hope to see you guys there. Not really. I hope neither of you make it. That would be my dream scenario. But overall, let's jump into it. We got all the matchups to go through today. We're doing 1 episode this week again, so a lot of matchups to go through, a little bit of news, and then we'll wrap it up and see you guys next week for week 1 of the playoffs. Let's start it off with the news.
News and notes.
Started off with something that really affects me, and it's near and dear to really my hopes and dreams of championships this year.
Might be why you're in the playoffs, some would say.
Possibly.
Some think a suspension to yourself might be necessary.
Will Fuller has been suspended for the rest of the season and week 1 of next year. We don't know what first off, it was for violation of the NFL's PEDs. We don't know what the actual, drug was. We don't know if it was steroids, but I would say it's not based on his explaining on Twitter. But he was wide receiver 5 and half-point scoring as of this week. So it's a big blow for a lot of people. But let's just talk about what that means for the rest of the Houston options really quickly. Does that downgrade Deshaun Watson for you guys? He's been on a tear as of late. do you guys have less confidence now that he's losing his number one wide receiver for the rest of the season?
I would say yes for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a definite hit.
Maybe
I
the
think,
rushing floor comes back up. Maybe.
yeah, I could see him leaning a little bit more on his legs, and then I could see him also kind of taking some aim more towards the tight end position for some dump offs and just some extra targeting there. But yeah, it's definitely a factor in his game right now that's going to be more hurtful than helpful having Fuller out. This is good news for Brandon Cooks owners.
All right, that's what I was going to ask you. So Brandon Cooks, as of right now, is wide receiver 27. So he's a wide receiver 3 as of right now. And I think you probably consider him as such in each week, unless you have a really favorable matchup. But now with Will Fuller out, what do you kind of expect for Brandon Cooks going forward? Do you expect him to be locked and loaded weekly starter, or
Yes.
you want to see what kind of happens first?
No, I think you'd have to start him at this point. I mean, there's going to be a lot of available targets there that are going to be automatically going towards him. So I think volume alone is someone, Watson's still Deshaun Watson. He's still a playmaker. And Brandon Cooks is going to have a good opportunity here to kind of showcase his talent a lot more than he was able to do under Fuller. So it's a good setup for Cooks owners right now, especially in the playoff push.
I'm a little bit more cautious. I think he's going to get a lot more attention because a lot of that attention was going to Fuller as the number one. But I do think, like Ashton said, his targets should at least go up. So hopefully that leads to lots of fantasy points.
And then last question real quick on this one. Do you have any interest with this news of Kiki QT to step in and be someone that is on that flex range, someone that might be a good play in a good matchup, or would you rather just keep him on the waiver wire, see what happens?
Isn't he injured?
Nope. He's
No,
the next man up.
Yeah, I think he's someone to keep
Was
an
he
eye
out
on.
last week?
Nope.
No.
Was he? Yes, he was.
He's missed most of the season, but he's played the last 2 weeks against Detroit and against New England.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how your roster's set up right now and what your needs are going into the playoffs, I mean, a lot of managers at this point are really starting to evaluate their roster and kind of dump in the trash and picking up some players that are kind of on the rise right now. So managing your roster is key in this situation, and Kiki Cutie could play in your favor. I'd watch this game and see what happens. I don't know if I'd dump off someone that has been a little bit more consistent for me in the long run, but he could be worth a pickup. What's his roster percentage? What's his ownership percentage?
It's still very, very low.
Yeah, so he's still available in most leagues. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's 0.9% rostered as of right now.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, I'm expecting tomorrow.
Confidence.
I mean, after the waiver wire tomorrow, like that's when we'll see.
Yeah, that'll go up
People
definitely.
start picking him up. But he does have a tough schedule coming up and into the playoffs. They have Indianapolis this week, Chicago the first week of the playoffs, Indianapolis in the second week of the playoffs, and then the only game you probably consider playing him is Cincinnati in the finals. So I don't know if you're making that move for probably 1 week where you feel any sort of confidence. But let's move on to the next piece of news here. Mitch Trubisky did replace Nick Foles as of last week with Foles' injury. But apparently Foles was a full participant in practice today, but they have still decided that Mitch will be their starter in week 13. It seemed to favor Allen Robinson last week, who found the end zone twice. Do you guys have more confidence in Allen Robinson with Mitch under center?
I've always had confidence in him. I've never lost it. Doesn't matter who's back there.
Fair enough.
I hope he leaves Chicago, though.
And the last piece, we said last week that Zach Ertz was being designated off the IR, but he is finally back at practice. So there's a possibility he could play this week. Any interest in picking up Zach Ertz as a stash? See what happens?
Does Wentz have to be my quarterback in that situation?
So you get what you get, bud.
Then no.
Are you sure Jalen Hurts isn't coming in?
That's
Maybe
what they
for a
said
play,
last week.
like
It'd
one
be-
play, or
Jalen
pass?
Hurts comes out and does one pass, gets the offense going, and then they take him out again.
false start. You're out.
Dallas Goddard's been the only nice piece to have on that offense the last couple weeks. Does that
Yeah, he
work?
has.
Does Zach Ertz worry you?
I don't know at how the beginning of the year went with both of them out there, and then when Ertz was by himself, I don't know if he's washed. He's lost a step. I'm not sure. I think he's worth the stash, especially if you don't have like someone you're confident in the tight end arena, which most people don't have confidence in any of theirs. So if you have a backup tight end or a backup somebody, maybe take a chance and hope for the best. How about George Kittle? Just randomly, if
Nope.
George Kittle comes back for Week 16, would you play him?
They're saying Kyle Shanahan's now saying that he's hopeful that he can get him back before the end of the regular season. With that said, I think it's not
Let's
worth
say
it.
it came down. Listen
you
to
have
this. Listen to this. Comes down to the last game. San Fran has to win to get into playoffs. They're like, Kittle, come on back, baby. Would you play him? Would you do it? I would. I know I would.
I mean, of course, if he's healthy, if he's going to play in the game, you play him.
No.
but you're
I'm not
gonna
saying he's
waste-
healthy. I'm just saying they're bringing him back. Doesn't matter. Nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah, but I'm not going to waste a roster spot right now on George.
Oh,
Kittle,
not now.
unless
Oh,
I have an
not now.
IR spot.
Yeah. See, that's an option.
Yeah. But that does it for the news. I'm sure there's a lot of other news out there, but that was kind of the top ones that I had found. There's a lot of injury things, but hopefully we can kind of address those as we go through the matchups. But I did want to take a special moment to congratulate Ashton for winning his first bet.
Thank
so
you,
far.
thank you. Big bet to win too.
He caught up on all
A
of his
lot of
winning
wings
orders.
on the line.
I am clean slate over here.
Yeah, it was very nice. And I know, this was one that was near and dear to your heart. We did the Cowboys and
Now
Washington
let's just
football
go
team.
ahead and move on into the matchups, and we can.
Whoa,
Go from there.
Whoa.
Basically,
What was-
I
what was the
wanted
bet
just to
again?
tell you that I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
But yeah, so I did want to bring up that Antonio Gibson obviously scored more points than Ezekiel Elliott, which was quite the blowout of a bet. So, but congratulations,
Thank you. It just feels right, you know.
of course.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into the matchups. As we said, we have all of them to go through today. Two teams on bye for Week 13. Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So a lot of big options on those two teams. Make sure you're making those adjustments. Get Mike Davis out, DJ Moore, Tom Brady, Rojo, all the wide receivers, Gronk, all of them. Make some adjustments, figure out moves to make. But let's start it off. There's no Thursday night game this week. The Baltimore and Pittsburgh game on Wednesday moved those out of the way. So games will not begin until Sunday. Let's start it off with the first one. New Orleans taking on Atlanta. Let's do these matchups a little bit different today since we do have so many to go through. I'll name off the obvious guys that you're starting. Unless you guys take any sort of exception to those guys, we'll just move right through those. But I will ask you about some of these guys that are kind of on that fringe range of some guys that you might be rotating inside and outside of your roster depending on the matchup. And you guys let me know your thoughts on them real quick. But we'll start it off with the obvious on the New Orleans side. I think what we've seen out of Taysom Hill, we've already seen Taysom Hill against Atlanta. I think you can lock him in as a quarterback that you're confident in. Alvin Kamara, even though he hasn't been great with Taysom Hill, you're not benching him. There's no way I can see you benching him. And then I do want to ask, what about Michael Thomas? We saw Michael Thomas do pretty well in this matchup already 2 weeks ago, but last week wasn't quite the same, only 50 yards. Are you still confident in Michael Thomas as someone that you're confidently starting on a week-to-week basis?
Yep.
Yeah, I think you still have to ride with Michael Thomas in this matchup. I mean, Taysom Hill, Michael Thomas seemed to have a connection that first week against Atlanta, and hopefully they can rekindle that flame.
Last game was the weirdest
guess-
game I've ever seen in my life. The Saints Broncos game was disgusting.
0 completions the first half of the
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
I mean,
That
who
was
wants
pretty
that?
For Denver. Yeah, for Denver. But yeah, I'd still roll with Michael Thomas in this matchup.
Fair enough. What about Latavius Murray? Any interest in Latavius Murray after he's coming off a huge game, 19 for 124 and 2 touchdowns last week? Any interest in flexing Latavius Murray against Atlanta?
It could be possible. My big concern with Kamara is the receptions. He's not getting targeted enough and getting enough receptions in the past game. He's only had 1 reception in the past 2 weeks. That's huge.
Yeah.
So if Kamara's picking up some, what was Kamara's reception rate? I mean, Murray's. Did he
Before
get any-
this, 68% of Alvin Kamara's points scored this year were receiving.
Yep. I mean,
So
his
now we're
passing-
getting less
yeah.
than, 32% of his production. And that's really what it feels like. But I see him getting into the end zone this week. Latavius Murray, I think you can play him. He's getting, they're just running the ball so much now. But also something to note was that Kamara was limited all last week with a foot issue and then comes out and Murray had more touches. So
Yeah.
I think that might shift back a little bit this week, but I still think you could flex him if you're desperate or just, I don't think he's like a RB2 guaranteed or anything.
flex him and hope for the
RB3.
best. He's a little bit more boom or bust to me, I think. But
Yeah, to
Yeah.
me, this kind of reminds me of the situation with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara 2 years ago for New Orleans, where you were always worried week to week, even though they were both producing, that one was going to be relevant, the other one wasn't, and they just always produced. And we've seen Latavius Murray for the 2 weeks that Taysom Hill started, 9 points and 25 points. So I think Latavius Murray is fine to play while Taysom Hill is still the quarterback. But when Drew Brees comes back, put him back on the bottom of your roster, just hoping Kamara somehow gets injured. But I think he's playable. Real quick, what about Emmanuel Sanders and Jared Cook? Any interest in them this week?
Nope.
Playing Atlanta, it's a good matchup.
I kind of like Cook in this situation. I think Taysom.
He's been
Might-
throwing to Troutman for whatever reason instead of Cook.
I might switch. You never know. It's an op-
I just don't trust Taysom as a passer. So outside of Michael Thomas, I don't really want anything.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's move over to the Atlanta side of the ball. It's a tough matchup. New Orleans defense has looked great these last couple of weeks. A lot of people on the Atlanta side are banged up. We don't know the status of Todd Gurley, Calvin Ridley, and Julio this week. Julio is probably the one that you're most concerned about. You don't have any confidence that he's going to suit up, but we'll have to see. And Todd Gurley also missed last week, so 2 guys to keep your eye on. But with that being said, if these guys are healthy, are you still playing Todd Gurley in this matchup? He struggled in this matchup earlier 2 weeks ago. So are you playing Todd Gurley against New Orleans?
I think I'd want to watch, see if he practices tomorrow. If he participates or if it's limited, I'll make my decision then. But hopefully he's taking the majority of this week off to recoup the knee there and then be in a better spot to play come Sunday.
I'd pivot if I could.
Yeah,
if I
agree.
could, not to some lesser than someone off the waiver wire with less upside.
Yep.
Because he does have massive upside if he can get in the end zone, but that's been a hard thing to do against the Saints.
So someone on the waiver wire you'd pick up now and play over Todd Gurley?
Frank Gore, maybe? Can I interest you in Frank Gore?
No, but I think someone that might be worth considering is Josh Jacobs is also banged up. So Devontae Booker might be able to step in and be that lead guy. Would you play Devontae Booker against the Jets instead of Gurley against the Saints?
Yes.
I'd have to wait and see tomorrow.
Okay.
Gurley's touchdown. He's touchdown driven, touchdown dependent. If he's healthy enough to do the workload at the end zone, I think I'd still might keep him in.
I think you're starting Calvin Ridley and Julio as long as they're healthy. Those guys have been great. What about Matt Ryan and Hayden Hurst? You guys interested in those 2 this week?
Hurst burned my ass last time. Was it a goose egg he put up against the Saints last time?
I'm not sure.
It felt like a goose.
He's put up a goose egg or two this season.
Yeah, it was. He put up a goose against New Orleans 2 weeks ago.
I know. Okay, I'm telling you, I know, and I felt it because I started him instead of Dallas Goddard, and I would have
Matt
won.
Ryan also
if
put up
that
5 points
mistake
against New
didn't happen.
Orleans.
Huh?
So Matt Ryan put up 5 points against New Orleans as well.
I don't think it's going to be as bad. I don't think the offense is going to be as terrible. But at the same time, if Julio is out, it's not going to be good for the entire offense. So that if Julio is out, I think Gurley's like, I mean, oof. That offense is going to be tough for them to move.
Gotcha. All right. Let's move to the next matchup. Cleveland taking on Tennessee. We'll start with the obvious on Cleveland. Nick Chubb is probably the only one I think you have 100% confidence in. Kareem Hunt hasn't been the Kareem Hunt that we've seen all year since Chubb has returned. But I'll ask you, Ashton, are you still confident in Kareem Hunt? Are you still rolling him out as a weekly starter?
I probably will against Tennessee, just because their defense has not been that impressive as of late. And I mean, I'm not confident in it, but I would still give them the opportunity to provide me what I need for my fantasy team. I mean, I still, I still believe in Hunt and his ability. It's just he's not getting the work now that Chubb's back that he used to. And it wasn't like that before when they were both healthy. So I'm a little shocked to see that there's been a shift, but I don't know, maybe this week can switch back around for me.
Yeah, I think he has too high of upside to sit on. This is a good matchup. I think you still got to be confident. What about Jarvis Landry? He's coming off his best game of the season, 8 for 143 and a touchdown. It was against a terrible Jacksonville secondary, but this Tennessee secondary hasn't looked great either. Any interest in flexing Jarvis Landry?
Yep.
If he plays
100%.
like he did last week, hell yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like Baker had started to get a go in there, started actually targeting Jarvis Landry. So I think he's someone that you can definitely consider here. And then lastly, Austin Hooper. Any interest in Austin Hooper? He hasn't been great. Only one game in double digits, and it was against Dallas. Any interest against Tennessee?
Tennessee's secondary is just too weak to not give these guys opportunity. So my concern is a little bit more on Baker and his decision making than his targets here.
And is how often they're going to throw it in general. When you have two great running backs like you do. But the tight ends, I mean, are you confident on any tight end out of this? Like Travis Kelce and Darren Waller? This just doesn't feel good really after the top four with, I guess, Hawkinson and Hunter Henry. But
yeah,
I think he's an option.
All right. Over to the Tennessee side, I think you're starting Ryan Tannehill with confidence here. Obviously,
maybe Derrick Henry.
Really? I thought you were going to say maybe Tannehill because Tannehill's, he's had up and downs this year.
I'm in on him.
Okay. Hunter Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry, you're throwing me all off of those Henrys. Derrick Henry's obviously locked in. Confidence in A.J. Brown. He is questionable as of right now, but if he plays, you're plugging him in. What about Corey Davis this week? You playing Corey Davis? Would you play Corey Davis or Jarvis Landry?
Jarvis Landry. But
probably Jarvis Landry.
You can play Corey Davis. I think you can flex him. He's been very solid this year. I am very proud of him.
Did y'all see his catch that basically looked like it hit the ground, but he ended up snagging it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was impressive. Kind of wish he had gotten in the end zone in that game. I think he deserved a touchdown there, but I think he looks really good this year. I haven't been a huge Corey Davis believer, but this year he's kind of switched it up on me, and hopefully he gets more opportunity moving forward. But I think I'd still play Landry over Corey Davis right now.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one who lean the other way. I think I'd have more confidence in Corey Davis and Jarvis Landry. I know Jarvis Landry is like the hot thing right now. He had a great game, but Corey Davis is
not the hot thing.
He's been good basically all year. Like, I mean, he's given you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double-digit games. Other games 9, 8, 9. Like, he's been good. He's been someone that's reliable. So I think I'd rather believe in Ryan Tannehill than Baker Mayfield, especially in an offense that throws the ball a little bit more.
I think the only reason I lean the other way is because Landry's got to be wide receiver 1. Corey Davis is not the main target there.
Yeah, but I'd rather than
and Derrick Henry could take over the game at any moment.
Yeah, so could Nick Chubb.
Yeah, but it's Derrick Henry.
Fair enough. Okay. And then lastly, Johnny Smith has been. I don't know where, if he's like taking a vacation or if he's like what he's doing, but gave you a goose last week. You losing confidence in Johnny against Cleveland?
He's just hit or miss, man. It's just there's
Yeah.
no every game that I think he's going to have a bad matchup or a bad game, he does well, and then every time I think he's going to succeed and be awesome for my team, he doesn't show up. So maybe I just need to kind of pull the opposite effect here, and if I think it's a good matchup, just sit him and then see if that works out for me. But
yeah,
no,
this
I
is
mean,
a good matchup though. So I mean, you can. I mean, tight ends, dude. Like, if you don't have another guy that's about a better matchup that you're somewhat confident in, sure, throw him out there. But if not, I mean, it's tight ends suck. It's just not that fun. I just play the matchups really, unless someone's been
Yeah.
hot, like Dallas got
Johnny
it.
has eight touchdowns on the year. So I mean, there's like two other tight ends that have that many. So I think you gotta still trust. I mean, he's probably your best option.
Yep.
Let's move over to the next matchup. Detroit taking on Chicago. I think this is just going to be an ugly game. Detroit has looked awful. Chicago has looked awful as of late. Started
Matt
off
Patricia.
winning
See
games,
ya.
but apparently, yeah. So that was another piece of news. Matt Patricia and the Detroit GM were both fired. Maybe this will be the Houston Texans effect where they turn it around once they do that. So we'll have to see. But we expect DeAndre Swift to be back. He's out of the concussion protocol. I'm expecting you're locking and loading DeAndre Swift after how good he's looked. TJ Hawkinson, another guy that you're probably playing. What
Yep.
about the possibility that Kenny Galladay, we've said this for a couple weeks as well. Kenny Galladay could return this week. Not 100% sure yet.
He hasn't practiced yet, and it's Thursday. So
yeah, and it's a tough matchup with Chicago. If he is active, are you playing Kenny Galladay with how bad Matt Stafford's looked?
I think you can start Jones if Galladay doesn't start.
But would
If
you play
Galladay
Galladay?
starts, I'm scared.
Would you play Galladay if Galladay plays?
Yes. At that point,
Yeah.
I would trust them and believe them and love them and know them to make the right decision for Kenny Galladay and my fantasy team.
Hasn't played since week 8.
Right. So he's had a lot of time to think about
Fair enough.
how to be good.
Okay, I hear you. All right, let's move over to Chicago. Outside of, I think this is a smash play this week for David Montgomery. If we're doing starts and sits of the week, I think he'd be
Smash
someone
play.
David Montgomery is coming off a career day as of last week.
He did not look the same person. Me and you were texting about it. We were like, who the hell is this guy? This is not David Montgomery.
I was convinced
He looked
that someone
amazing.
stole his jersey and was out there playing for him.
No, he
He
looked
made
good.
people
I
miss.
totally agree. I think you
He
can
had like a
definitely.
60-yard run.
That was
good.
beautiful. Caught some passes. Looked good doing it. You starting Mitch Trubisky if you have to.
Yeah, I think Mitch is in the streaming category this week.
That's disgusting. Do you think he'll score more points than
Hey
Stafford?
man, I beat you Nick Foles before. I think people could play Mitch.
Yeah, that's true. That did happen, but he had like 50 points or something. So, anyways, who
true.
do you think is going to score more points, Stafford or Mitch?
I feel like this is like the Andy Dalton versus
Alex
Smith debate. I think Mitch will score more.
I got Stafford.
Good. We're not doing any more chicken.
Allen Robinson, you're playing. He looked great. This is a good matchup. Jimmy Graham. I'm going to stop asking you guys about tight ends. I mean, we're just going to say the same thing
Yep.
over and over again. These guys are all.
Look at the matchup.
Yeah.
Make your own decisions.
You
What
don't
do
have
feel in
better
your heart?
options. Let's move over to the next one. Cincinnati taking on Miami. We saw Cincinnati's offense under Ryan Finley. We know what we have now.
Brandon
T.
Allen.
Higgins.
Brandon Allen started this past week
Right. Brandon. Yeah, sorry.
because Ryan Finley sucks.
We saw T. Higgins was the only one of the receivers to find the end zone. But other than that, the receivers were kind of irrelevant. And none of these offensive pieces were great. Gio didn't look great.
Gio's
any-
been hot garbage since he's taken over.
Yep. Anybody on Cincinnati you're interested in? Miami's defense has looked good. Do you want to start anybody on Cincinnati? Would you consider starting anybody on Cincinnati?
Only Higgins.
Yeah, I think Higgins is the only option there. I mean, I'd take. I mean, if you're getting me double-digit points and I'm desperate for a wide
Yeah.
receiver, yeah, I'm still gonna keep you on my.
And if you have to, I think you could play Tyler Boyd and hope some shorter passes happen. And he's in the slot or something. But it's definitely Higgins number one, and maybe the only number.
Yeah, I don't think I'd play anybody.
It sucks, man. Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins have been so good this year. Then that dirty play by that dirty team. Ugh.
All right, let's move over to the Miami side. Tua is still questionable for this week with the thumb injury. We
That's
don't
what I
know
want to hear, baby. That's what I want to
if he
hear.
will play. But Ryan Fitzmagic came in, looked good, was actually moving the ball through the air. I'm assuming Fitzpatrick's a startable player against Cincinnati this week if he's the starter. Right?
Absolutely.
Could light it up for you. Myles Gaskin has been designated to return off the IR, has the possibility to play this week, is still considered questionable, but they are projecting him points. So the possibility that Myles Gaskin could return this week is very real. Any interest in plugging Myles Gaskin right back in against Cincinnati?
I think you
Yeah,
can.
if he's good to go, I would.
Yep. You're starting Devontae Parker as long as Fitzpatrick is under center.
I'll start him either way.
Okay. And lastly, what about Mike Gesicki? Happy with Mike Gesicki with Fitzpatrick? Found the
Sure.
end zone last week with him?
Sure, man. Whatever. I
right.
hate the tight end position. It's just not inspiring. But yeah, I actually with Fitzy, I would say yeah, I'd feel pretty decent about him.
Yep.
Better than decent. Pretty decent.
Pretty decent like that.
About a 6 out of 10.
Let's move to the next one. Jacksonville taking on Minnesota. At this point with Jacksonville, the only confident one I have is James Robinson. Outside of that, are you guys starting anybody else?
No.
This is a Minnesota defense that's giving up points.
Is
But-
Gardner Minshew back yet?
Not as of right now.
Yeah, Mike Glennon's starting. So that's your answer.
Yeah, I mean, it
I
doesn't.
mean,
really
DJ
make-
Shark is, if you're desperate and you got nothing. He's going to be
Mike-
the number one with targets, you'd assume,
Yeah.
but it will not feel good. I'll tell you that much. But Minnesota has struggled with their secondary. They've been a little better of late, but desperation calls. DJ Chark
Mike-
will pick up the phone.
Mike Glennon wasn't bad last week in his first start. He came out and actually looked pretty good. 235 to the air and 2 touchdowns, no picks, 18 points. Is he someone that you'd stream against Minnesota?
No, hell no. What the hell's wrong with you?
He's played one game. He scored 18 points, man. Like,
No.
why not?
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I'm not doing it, but it's a legitimate question.
No,
you know?
no, absolutely not.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
It's ridiculous. How dare you even ask that?
All right, on the Minnesota side,
Got you this week. I picked up Glennon. You're going down, son.
man. I've seen crazier things happen. On the Minnesota side, we've talked about this matchup against Jacksonville for the receivers for the quarterback position. Kirk Cousins should be a fantastic play this week against Jacksonville. We've seen quarterbacks just absolutely thrive against this matchup. But let's talk about some of the rest. Are you starting Dalvin Cook here?
He's a little banged up. I might lean Alexander Madison.
Injury concern, yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
one play.
he's a smash. He's a smash play. I hope he's not too much of a smash because he is in my way to get to the playoffs. So I hope he kind of chills out, maybe about 18, 19 points, just kind of hang out there,
Right, just
rest
chill
him
on
up.
that
He's a
range.
little banged up. So
All right. Give him a break. Playoffs are soon. They're not going to make it. Let's hope for next year. But we're playing Adam Thielen as long as he's good to go. They've taken him off the COVID list, so no concerns there. Justin Jefferson's looked fantastic playing him as well.
So
Anybody
good.
else on Minnesota that you're interested in?
nope.
No, I think you're just starting the obvious here.
Fair enough. Let's move on to the next one. We got the Colts taking on the Texans. For the Colts, this is obviously an easier matchup for the defense. They just lost their top defensive back with Bradley Roby. So, would you play Michael Pittman this week with some confidence? Is he in your flex consideration?
Yes, sir.
You would, you would play Michael Pittman?
Yeah, I'd play Michael Pittman in this matchup as a flex play.
He didn't do so well this week against Tennessee, which should have been a sweet matchup for him.
Mm-hmm. I understand that.
Would you play Pittman or T. Higgins?
Pittman.
I'd play Higgins.
Oh yeah. How hard
Yeah.
would you play him?
Oh, real hard.
Hey guys, so here we go. Check this out, guys. I was listening to a podcast today, and they also have an app. It's a water bet app. I don't know if you guys have heard of these people, but you can use the app for your own fun. So I was gonna suggest maybe a water bet, Ashton.
You want to dive into that a little bit more? What does that consist of?
Basically, you spin a wheel, and whatever it lands on is how you're going to get water dumped on you from a cup. So it could be in your pocket, it could be down your shirt, it could be on your head, it could be a throw right in your face.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Water bet. Yeah.
So Pittman and
Can't,
versus
can't,
Higgins?
can't do that. Yep.
Pittman versus Higgins.
All right.
Oh man, I'm so excited. What are you guys thinking here with the running backs in Indianapolis? Are you starting JT and Hines?
Nope.
You confident in both?
Jonathan Taylor.
Just JT.
Yeah. I believe in him again.
How did he
I
do
think you
last
saw
week? I couldn't remember.
he was on the COVID list. So he didn't
Oh,
play.
that loser. He went out and got COVID. Are you serious?
But before that, I mean, they were relying on him. He
It
was the
seemed like
guy
they
that,
flipped the switch for like
Yeah.
1 week.
yeah. Right before
It's been
against
so
Green Bay.
confusing to me. Especially probably to you too, Stefan, because you talked him up and how he was the best college player of all time. And then I think we've all been very disappointed in how good he is at running into the backs of his
Right. Sure.
line.
Sure.
So,
Sure. Yeah.
but is Hines an option? Do you think though, for real?
And a half point and PPR.
PPR.
leagues, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which tight end do you want? You
Trey
you
Boo-Boo.
love Trey Burton.
I'm all about Trey Boo-Boo.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, he scores touchdowns, and that's what we're looking for with tight ends. So I'm on it with Trey Burton. This is a good matchup.
Oh,
And then Philip Rivers, is he viable as a streamer this week against Houston?
He's dealing with a toe injury right now, so we'll see how that goes.
Hey,
He was
you don't
dealing
need
with
a
it
toe to
last
throw a
week,
ball,
too.
bud.
Oh, you need
he's
it.
been
big
dealing
toe.
with it for a couple weeks.
That's
So I'm not worried about it, that toe. I heard it was the middle toe because he's been flipping people off with it. He's really flexing it.
That's
Very
awesome.
talented. It's actually really hard to do. Go ahead and try that, guys. You feel it? Can't do it.
Yeah, I know.
You see that? See
Talented.
that? See what's going
Did
on
you
right
see me
now?
do it?
When you got 7-8 kids, you got to be able to do that kind of thing.
Lastly, there was a monument this week. T.Y. Hilton scored a touchdown.
Hey, yes.
He's back, locked and loaded, man. 4 for 81 and a tutty.
No, thank you.
You want some of that action, Ty? Okay, fair enough. On the Houston side, we talk about this matchup as well with the Colts. This is a tough defense to go against. Deshaun Watson has looked great, but like we said, there's no more Will Fuller, so this kind of changes things for this Houston offense and what we can expect. So I think there are a lot of question marks that people want to know with the Houston offense and what to do, especially with this being arguably the hardest matchup to have outside of probably Pittsburgh. But Deshaun Watson, are you still playing him with confidence?
Depending on what you got as a backup or another option,
Would you play
I would
Kirk
highly
Cousins?
consider. Yes.
Would you play Philip Rivers?
No.
Yes.
Lastly, would you play Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Dang, man. So Deshaun Watson is really down your list at this
Dude,
point.
Will Fuller, the PED master himself, man. If he's gone, I mean, he was that offense. Like Brandon Cooks did really well because Will Fuller was doing well and drawing attention. I can't see it working well, especially against a top 5 defense. It's just not going to feel good. I think you can start Watson if you have the option to pivot, do it. But it's going to be hard to sit Watson the way he's played. But I think outside of Watson, Cooks, and maybe tight end Jordan Atkins, I don't want the running backs at all.
I think this is maybe a closer argument. What about Matt Ryan against New Orleans?
Then Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
I think I'd probably still go Deshaun.
I'd go Watson. That's terrible.
Yeah, I think I go Watson too, just because he has the
I
rushing
think-
floor.
Yeah, and especially if Julio's.
Yeah, especially with Julio. But yeah, so we possibly have David Johnson back this week. He's projected to be off the or designated to be off the IR. You don't want David Johnson?
Jacob?
I mean, he was consistent.
I'm not. I don't care what he was. This is just coming off his head being broken off. That does make you feel a little bit more comfortable about like no re-injury, but I mean this matchup, it's just not a great one, unless you're Derrick Henry last week.
I think I'd play David Johnson if he's back. I think
The
especially Will
problem is
Fuller.
Watson
Will Fuller
doesn't
being-
throw it to him ever, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, but this offense is going to have to completely change without Will Fuller. Like they have
that's
to find a
true.
way to move the
Targets.
ball.
He might pick up some extra targets. But
Thank-
okay, look, I'll start David Johnson, but I will not start Dookie Johnson.
Well, yeah, if David Johnson plays, you're not playing.
No. I'm saying if Dookie Johnson is there by himself, I won't start him.
He's coming off a good game. He looked really good last week. You don't want him.
You can have.
I played him last week. It was great. Better than Alvin Kamara.
Hey, whoa, dude, not cool.
What about Brandon Cooks, Ashton? Are you playing Brandon Cooks in this matchup against the Colts?
Cooks
Yes.
is in, dude.
Okay. I don't know if I have that much confidence. Okay, let's move over to the next matchup, though. Las Vegas taking on the Jets. On the Las Vegas side is, dude, I told you this a million times. I don't know what to do with Derek Carr. That's why I refuse to pick him up from now on because he's
burned you,
like,
baby.
They project him to be great, and then like the terrible teams just crush Derek Carr, and the good teams he's great against.
I think
he
you
had-
could start him this week.
Yeah, we said we could start him last week against Atlanta.
No, I'm saying you can this week, though.
he had 0.6 points.
You should
against
probably
Atlanta.
start Derek Carr this week.
I would
Point-
definitely start him.
6 points.
Like,
against
there's
Atlanta.
gonna be people out there. Like, there's gonna be doubters. Maybe bad performance, just not that good against a cupcake matchup. But
Don't do it.
you have to do it. If you have
Hear-
no option, look,
hear what I'm
just
saying
think
to you.
long and
Steph-
hard before you do it. 'Cause
All
you
these
can't prepare to
streamable
have-
people that we told you. Go get
when
Kirk
you have
Cousins.
this is what happens like when you have a personal attachment to this issue and that you are such a loser and have to have played Derek Carr this year. It hurts you more, okay? So you're listening to me and Ashton here who have not had to play Derek Carr this year. And you can play him.
Not even on my radar.
This great matchup. You can play him if you do not have another option.
Don't
if you
play him.
have an
Don't
option.
play him.
Okay, here you go. Deshaun Watson against Indianapolis
Yes.
or Derek Carr.
Yes. Watson. Probably out of the
Watson.
32 quarterbacks playing this week, I would take probably about 29 of them, other than Derek.
Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon over Derek Carr?
Don't say it.
He's like, shit.
Probably.
28.
If DJ Chark is out, you're an
He's
imbecile.
probably the one. He's probably one of the two that I wouldn't play over.
You said 32.
Yeah. I
Continue.
said
Just
probably
keep,
pick
just keep
39
going. Just
over.
keep going. I'm just messing with you.
Fair enough. The question is, if Josh Jacobs plays, you're playing Josh Jacobs. But
Yep.
in terms of Devontae Booker coming in and being the guy if Josh Jacobs is out, is he
Yep.
someone that you play guaranteed if Josh Jacobs is out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Playing the Jets here, everyone. 0-11. Let's keep going.
Aaron Waller's locked and loaded. What about Nelson Aguilar?
I think you can play him. This week.
Confidence to Nelson.
I think you can play him pretty confidently this week.
Look, if you're gonna have the confidence to start Carr, you gotta have the confidence to start.
I don't have the confidence. to
Yes,
start.
you do, and that's why you're gonna do it.
I would never do that. I promise you. You'll never see me play.
Your
Derek
lips
Carr
might be
ever
saying
again.
no, but your eyes say yes.
Who are you starting this week
I got
in
Fitzpatrick,
our main
baby.
league?
Here we
Who?
go. Fitzpatrick.
He picked up Magic.
And I also
Oh, he
have
hasn't picked
Taysom
him
Hill
up
ready
yet.
to go.
Hey, you got a better waiver order, Ashton? Come on, let's
I
get it.
have Fitzpatrick.
I might.
Oh,
should
I thought you
Yeah.
said you were picking him up.
No, I played him last week. I have him. Don't worry.
Desperado.
And just in case Tua comes in, I got Taysom Hill. So no worries
Look,
for me. this
guys,
week.
I want everyone to know that that Stefan was trying to make me trade Justin Herbert or Lamar Jackson for Will Fuller. He knew the PED suspension was coming down the pipeline.
This was,
He was
I
trying to set
offered
me
to
up.
trade him like 3 weeks ago.
You knew.
And if you would have taken it, you would have been in the playoffs probably.
Yeah, but I would have felt dirty like you do right now. All right, let's go next. The Jets. Who are you starting?
Jameson Crowder.
and next.
And
next.
Rashad Perriman.
I think you can start Frank Gore.
No,
You can.
I don't want him.
You can though.
He's like the equivalent to Derek Carr.
Dude,
at
how does
the
Adam
running back
Gase still have
position.
How has he not been fired already?
They just don't want to change it. He's going to get fired immediately once the season ends. But anyways, Frank Gore playing against like the 30th worst run defense, and he's going to get at least 10 to 15 touches. I think you can throw him in for like a max of 8 to 9 points, and you just go with that. Is that fair? Can you do that? You think 8 to
Sure.
9?
Why not?
Ceiling is it like 11?
Yeah, you gotta know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead. Sorry.
I have just as much confidence in Rashad Perriman as I do in Nelson Aguilar. Like, I think they're like equivalent people. You know,
Yeah, I like Brashad Perriman.
you're not happy
s-
about playing either one.
I
of
said
them,
that the
but-
last 2 weeks, I think, and you guys were doubting me and you didn't believe me, but you should have. He's
Sorry.
been doing pretty good for a really crappy team that has to throw a lot. So Darnold's back, so Crowder definitely in play. I mean, I think they're both in play, but it never feels good to start a Jet.
Right. We say that every week.
Mhm.
All right, on to the next matchup. The New York Giants taking on Seattle. Daniel Jones is expected to miss this week, which changes things. So I think at this point, probably Wayne Gallman is the only one that you're confident starting. Would you still play any of the receiving options for the Giants?
I think you can start
Shepard.
Sterling Shepard, yeah, and Evan Ingram.
Seattle's
Tight,
defense is
whatever.
too I mean, they're rough right now.
They
I
have
mean,
been better. I will give.
They've
them
been
that.
better, but they still.
Jamal Adams has been back, and then they traded for Dunlap. I don't know. They definitely look solid, but their secondary is still pretty weak.
Yeah, their
So
secondary.
Shepard and
sure.
Ingram, I think you can play.
Yep. The Seattle side, I think all the guys that you'd play or are in play, Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett are all great plays. I think the only one that maybe you're still kind of on the fence about, maybe Carlos Hyde, would you play him with Chris Carson back? They were giving him some carries last week, but it looked like they were just still trying to ease Chris Carson in. With the second week, Chris Carson being back, would you play Carlos Hyde?
I think Carlos Hyde is actually pretty banged up. I think he's missed most practice this week. I think Chris Carson, like you said, they eased him in. I think he's going to go full beast mode here.
I hope so. I
Me
need
too.
it. I need it bad.
I need that. Give me
We'll
that.
see what you get. We'll see what you get.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next one then. The LA Rams taking on the Arizona Cardinals. We'll start off on the LA side. The Cardinals defense hasn't been great. Is this a streamable week for Jared Goff?
No.
He got
Jared
three,
Goff.
he got
Dude,
three,
this
he got
this
three
has been
points
most.
last week.
This might have.
Hey,
This
Derek
might be
Carr
one of the
scored
most.
0.8 points, so you didn't say that.
Huh?
Don't worry
So
about
what?
that.
Derek Carr scored 0.8 points.
Those
Yeah,
are
but
the
I'm not in a position where I
expectations,
need to-
though. You know that's a
I
possibility.
need to worry about Derek Carr.
Look,
Sick of you guys.
I think the Rams have been one of the most disappointing offenses and definitely most unpredictable offenses all year long. And it's depressing, you know. Cooper Kupp who is that guy? What does he do? What has he done for me lately? He had one. I feel like he's had maybe 2 good games this year. It's just like it hasn't felt good, and Woods is just getting involved in some trick plays. I have no confidence. I don't know who's going to be the better back to start. I don't know what they're going to do, and I don't think McVay does until he gets the game and then sees who does what, and then they ride the hot hand for real, for real. I mean, do you have confidence starting Cooper Kupp?
Yes. 100% confidence in Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods.
100%? Oh my! Lord.
100%. Yeah,
I'm like-
I'm
I'm like-
guaranteeing
I'm
double
like a
digit points for Kupp.
75-80% confidence on Cup this week.
Yeah, I'm in
I'd
on
say
Kupp
about a 52.
Nope. 100%.
Hmm.
Guarantee double digit points.
You think he's a top 10 play this week?
No, but I guarantee he scores double digit points. But I think I figured out this backfield for LA, and I'm going to explain it to you now.
Oh,
What
thank
we've
you.
seen the
Please.
last 2 weeks has been the clearest understanding of what the Rams are going to be the rest of the season in the backfield. I'll tell you right now, you can drop Darrell Henderson. You can drop Malcolm Brown. Congratulations, Cam Akers has been promoted to the guy.
How many
that
touches
you
did he
wanna
have
own.
last week?
He had 9. But
Hmm.
the last 2 weeks, he has scored touchdowns. Those are his first 2 touchdowns of his career. They're getting him involved in the red zone. He was great last week, 9 for 84. That's fantastic, and a touchdown. I think Sean McVay has seen what he needs to see out of Cam Akers. Darrell Henderson has been disappointing as of late. I think Cam Akers is a flexible play this week.
All right, you heard Stefan. I
right.
have no opinion.
So Stefan thinks Cam should sit on your bench. All right, moving
Nope.
forward.
Watch, I'm going to play him in Dynasty this week, and it's going to be great.
Stefan, guess what?
What?
Guess how many points? Guess how many times he scored over 10 points this year?
1 last week.
That's correct.
I know what he's done.
Another guess. Here we go.
He's building up. He's building
Guess
his
how
way
many
up the
times he's
ladder,
had
and
more
that's
than 10 touches?
twice. I don't
More than 10. 0.
once.
It's
Nada.
just not.
Nothing.
It's not a lot of
No,
confidence
week
there when you
1.
can't get
Week
the
1, he had
touches.
14 carries.
Okay,
and a
yeah.
catch.
Sorry, first
Yeah,
week
so
that doesn't
shut your
count.
mouth.
It's
You don't
been
know
it's been
anything.
so long ago. That was with
Right.
against the Cowboys
Obviously,
that
the
had Dak.
listeners know
This is
who
a
to
different
listen
year.
to. The guy who could read the stats here.
It was
But
so
I think-
long ago. I was trying to scroll up to the top of the screen. It was so long ago.
I hear you.
Thank you.
Let's move over to Arizona, though.
Okay.
Kyler he's banged up. Something's going on with the shoulder. Not looking the same. But I think you're playing Kyler. I mean, he's been great. You're playing Kenyon Drake in this matchup against the Rams.
Wait, on
You're
the
asking
Kyler
me?
thing before we move on. I made a trade. I traded Josh Allen in one of my leagues for Kyler Murray because I liked the schedule more for Kyler Murray, and it's Kyler Murray, and he had been balls to the wall, phenomenal.
Sure,
And
sure.
then the first week I pick him up and play him, he gets me less than 8 points. I'm concerned that the shoulder is way more serious than they're letting on. I mean, did you watch that game? How reserved he was in protecting that shoulder. He did nothing on his feet. He barely threw the ball. I mean, he didn't break.
I have no concerns. I think you made the right decision.
Yeah, I'm not concerned.
I
At
think
all.
Kyler Murray is going to come out this week. I think, yes, he was protecting his shoulder at that point, but he hurt his shoulder at the first quarter or second quarter of that other game. And then last week was definitely protecting it. He's the QB1 on the year. He had his worst game last week. The week before that, with a messed up shoulder, he had 20 points. I have no concern with Kyler Murray at all.
Yep. No worries.
All right, we'll see.
Nothing to be worried about. But I think the running backs are more of the question here. We've talked about Kenyon Drake up and down all year. Has looked great since he's come back, but this Rams defense is no joke. Are you playing Kenyon Drake this week?
Yep.
As well as Chase Edmonds?
No. You're going to play Kenyon Drake for his touchdown upside, I think. You just got to have to hope he punches it in. And I think he will. I mean, Arizona, I think they'll still move the ball, and he'll have a chance to get in the end zone. But if he doesn't, you might be upset.
You're playing DeAndre Hopkins. Christian Kirk, is he flexible this week?
No.
I'm kind of just avoiding. I mean, if I have other options, I just
think
don't
it's
like this
Kyler,
matchup.
Drake, and Hopkins. I mean,
Yeah, I don't like this matchup.
it's not that
And
fun.
with how things have been rolling out the past 2 weeks, I'm a little concerned. So
But it is a divisional matchup, so you got to think about that too, because there's going to be a little extra competitive juices out there.
Yep.
A
All
lot
right,
on
let's
the
move over to
line.
the next one. We got New England taking on the Chargers. I think Cam is another one of those guys that you just don't know you're going to get. He's streamable, but keep in mind he can let you down. But let's talk about some of the other guys here. You're probably playing Damian Harris. I think James White is playable now. We saw last week he found the end zone with Rex Burkhead
Twice.
out for the year. Are you guys playing James White?
no,
I think you can. In half point PPR standard, I'd say no. I think Harris will probably get the touchdowns this week. If they
yeah,
have it.
Harris is the man. I'm not playing White.
I think James White is kind of in that Naheem Hines role. Has the great receiving upside. He's been in this offense for a long time. I think he's playable. I think he's someone you can flex because the Chargers defense is not good. But what about the wide receivers here? You never know what you're going to get. We thought Jacoby Myers was going to be great for the rest of the season, and it's kind of been disappointing in the last couple of weeks. Would you play Jacoby Myers in this matchup?
I think you can flex him.
Yeah, possibly
not
flex.
if you have to.
Okay.
You don't have to. Don't. But I think I'm playing him in our dynasty league.
Okay. Let's move over to the Chargers then. You're playing Herbert. You're playing Eckler. You're out on all the other running backs outside of Eckler, right? No Kalen Balaj anymore, nothing
Correct.
like that.
They're going.
Yeah, Eckler's in.
Yeah. Then you got Mike. What about Mike Williams? I guess is kind of one of the big question marks. He's given you good weeks, and then he's giving you really bad weeks.
I think you can play him this week. I think the Patriots defense hasn't been what it was before, and I think Allen's going to get more Gilmore than Williams, and he might have the opportunity for a big play. And if he catches a touchdown, I mean, he's going to be he's good. It's going to be normally a 40, 50-yard touchdown, and he'll be fine. But you got to know that going into it based on your projections, everything. I know we talk about it a lot. If you need a boom bust player, he is your boom, but he can bust.
Yeah, big hit or miss for me.
You're playing Keenan Allen. Let me read you a pretty crazy stat real quick as well. How many targets do you think Keenan Allen has through 12 weeks? Or through 11 games, because they had their bye. So through 11 games, how
Of
many
anyone
targets?
in the league,
How many targets do you think Keenan Allen has?
the most of anyone in the league. That's my
That wasn't my question. Take a rough
No,
guess.
that's it.
Over or under 100?
150.
No, not that many.
I'm spitballing here. He's got 110.
Under 100.
He has 122 targets
Shoot.
through 11
Dang it.
games.
I was
Pretty
thinking
good.
At least 10 to 15 a game, and I was calculating.
Yeah,
it.
that's pretty
That's a
wild.
lot.
Yeah,
And Herbert's
he's-
been great. So yeah.
Yeah. Clearly, he's found his favorite target. Hunter Henry, you're playing him. But let's move on to the next matchup then. Philadelphia taking on Green Bay. Carson Wentz has looked horrible, so it concerns you with all the receiving options. Miles Sanders, this is a great matchup on paper. Green Bay gives up a lot of points to the running back position, but this Philadelphia offense just doesn't move the ball. Are you still having confidence in Miles Sanders after what we've seen the last 2 weeks?
I think
have
he's
confidence
playable,
in-
but
yeah.
I'm not riding full confidence. I mean, this offense is just atrocious. It's not good. Whatever they're trying to do is not working. Their offensive line is miserable. Wentz gets
He's
is
miserable.
he the most sacked quarterback in the league right now?
I think he's the most stupid quarterback in the league right now. There's
don't know.
something wrong with him. I told Stephen I think he has the quarterback yips, and I don't even know what that means, but it just seems like something's off. He's just not. He's paranoid in the pocket. He doesn't. I mean, he's trying to make some crazy plays, and just it doesn't happen. He doesn't have the time he thinks he needs, and it's not that fun. Especially
Yeah,
for
I'm not-
Jalen Rager. Who's Travis Folk? I don't even remember him anymore. He's gone.
He hasn't done anything the past couple weeks. Yeah, I'm not high on Miles Sanders this week.
Dude, this is so I will say this is a back end 30th beyond run defense. If there's going to be any success, it's going to be with him or Goddard, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are the only guys that I have confidence in: Miles Sanders and Dallas Goddard. Would you start anybody else? Any of the
No.
wide receivers?
No.
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's move over to the Green Bay side. I think you have a little bit more confidence in those guys. This Philadelphia defense hasn't been great outside of their pass rush. Aaron Rodgers is in play. Aaron Jones is in play. Devontae Adams. But the two guys I think really kind of on the edge here. Alan Lazard found the end zone last week. Are you interested in him this week?
Yeah, I'd use him as a flex for sure.
I'd flex him.
And then what about the Onion?
Yes.
Yes.
He keeps getting targets, man. I mean, as long as they keep eyeing him, Rodgers likes to use them, especially on the deep ball. So if he keeps making himself open and available, I think Rodgers is going to look for him and hit him,
Yep. He's got his
which
little,
usually means touchdown for Green Bay.
he's
so.
got his little streak going, 2 good games in a row. So I think he's back in play. Let's move over to the next matchup. Denver taking on Kansas City. Divisional game here on the Denver side. Hopefully there's a little bit more movement this week on offense. Drew Lock should be playing again, so they won't have to start some practice squad wide receiver,
It has never
which
taken a
is-
snap in the NFL. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
which is always great. You know, you always want a real quarterback to actually to play the position. So let's talk about the guys on Denver. I think really everybody is kind of a question mark on would you actually play them. Let's start with the two running backs here, Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay. Would you play those guys this week?
I think there's a chance Lindsay's going to be out. If he's out, I think you can have some confidence in Melvin Gordon. I still think he's the more likely one to fall in the end zone.
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot of faith in Judy.
Gordon
Fant
got
is Fant. Ugh.
they played Kansas City in week 7. Gordon got 17 carries, 1 touchdown, 2 receptions for 12 yards. He got 11 fantasy points. I mean, that's about where you expect him to be against Kansas City. So I think that's gonna be kind of like where his ceiling is. So
Yeah.
depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think he's a flex play. He's a running back end running back 2, front end
Yeah.
running back 3. I mean, you got to understand what this Denver offense is right now, and that that upside's really counts.
Garbage.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's not great for the Denver side. But on Kansas City, dude, Tyreek Hill is, I don't know how to explain him. Patrick Mahomes, you're playing him. Travis Kelce, you're playing him. You have confidence in Clyde now? You think Clyde is the real deal?
Oh goodness.
He's up and down, man. Like we saw last week against Tampa Bay, 4 points. The week before against Vegas, 20 points. It's kind of a middle of the pack defense against the run at 17th. You think he's the guy?
He is a guy. I don't know if he's the guy. I think you can play him. It's not going to feel good. It might not look good, but I think he's in a great offense, and you just hope he gets some more targets.
He's dealing with an illness right now, and he didn't practice today. So monitor him tomorrow. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's still getting volume. I mean, he got 14 carries against Vegas. He got 11 carries in Tampa Bay. I would want him to get more than he did last week, this week, but yeah, it's a crapshoot. I don't know when, each given week. I don't know how they're going to utilize him. So when they continuously use him, he seems to perform pretty well. It's just getting that volume.
Yep. Let's move to the next matchup, though. We got Washington taking on Pittsburgh. The three guys in Washington that have been, kind of in that consideration all year, Antonio Gibson, Scary Terry, and Logan Thomas against this really tough matchup. Are you playing all three of those guys still?
Yep.
Yes.
Is
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's basically their
Alex
offense,
Smith is
so.
still going to make things work somewhat. So
All right, on the Pittsburgh side, James Conner is expected to be out once again, so you're going to get some Benny Snell action. Are you in on Benny Snell this week?
Yeah, he looked good this week. I would.
yeah, I mean he looked good. This is a tough defense. So
It is a tough defense, but it's Pittsburgh too. So
Fair. What about the wide receivers? I think Deontay Johnson is the guy that you're still having the
Start 'em
most
all.
faith in. You start him against this secondary.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah,
Fair enough. Eric Evans looked great. It looks like Ben's kind of focusing on him lately. I think he's a good play as well. Next matchup, Buffalo taking on San Fran. On the Buffalo side, you're playing Josh Allen. You're playing Diggs. But what about John Brown and Cole Beasley? Are those two guys that you consider flexing this week?
What did you say?
John
About
Brown.
John
flexing John Brown and Cole Beasley.
John Brown is on the IR.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's not.
So Cole Beasley, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, John Brown's out. He got put on the IR. So
The bee's knees, my friend.
Bee's knees is the
Back in.
real zeal.
Back in on the bees. All right. On the San Francisco side, I think that the guys that you're really considering here, Raheem Mostert, I think you can plug him in and play him. Brandon Ayuk is back off the COVID IR. What about him and Debo? Are you playing those two guys in your flex this week?
Ayuk.
Wait. You said Debo and Ayuk?
Yep.
I'd definitely take Debo over Ayuk. I don't know what it's going to look like with both of them out there. Goodness. But this matchup could be okay. So I think Debo is a wide receiver too, and I think you could flex Ayuk maybe. I don't know. What's your confidence level, Stefan?
I mean, we haven't seen these guys both
Together,
on
really.
the field since week 7 against New England. So I don't know, man. I think
What did Debo get in week 7?
Debo put up 5 for 65 through the air, had 3 carries for 7 yards, had 9.7 points.
That's Debo or Ayuk?
It's Debo.
Okay.
And Ayuk had 6 for 115 and no carries. So he had 14 points. I think these guys and Raheem Mostert are going to be their offense. I mean, they're banged up, as we said. No Jimmy G, no Kittle. Like these 3 guys are going to be how they move the ball. So I think all of them are worthy of being in your lineup. I think the big question mark would be, I mean, we keep talking about tight ends, Jordan Reed. If you don't have a better option, play Jordan Reed.
Yep.
And then lastly, the Monday night game or
Tuesday night game.
Moved it to Tuesday. Dallas taking on Baltimore. Tough matchup for Dallas. Are you still playing Zeke in this matchup?
I think you. Yeah,
I'm not.
I am.
I'm not playing Zeke.
I just don't know what better options you're going to find other than Zeke. It's just, maybe Frank Gore. Frank Gore over Zeke. Any takers?
No.
I'd play Zeke. You just hope he gets some more passing involvement. We just saw what Benny Snell did to the Baltimore Ravens, so
Would
you'd
you play
hope Zeke
Melvin
could do a
Gordon
little bit more than that.
or Zeke?
Gordon.
Don't
I've already
ask me.
seen. I've already seen.
Don't
I've
ask
already
me.
seen Gordon play against Kansas City. So I mean,
Okay.
especially if Lindsey's out, I got Gordon.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd play Gordon, Snell.
I think the only one that you're confident with here is Amari Cooper. He keeps getting it done. What about CeeDee Lamb? Any interest in CeeDee Lamb this week?
I think outside of Cooper, you're just grabbing at straws.
You're taking a chance, yeah.
I think Dalton's gonna have a rough game this week.
You would
I like
think
that.
so.
I think the pressure's gonna be on quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't a great matchup for sure. I still think Lamb is someone that you can flex. But I mean, you gotta understand this is a tough matchup. They involve him in ways that they don't involve a lot of pieces. So, understand what you're gonna get there. On the Baltimore side, though, I think this is the J.K. Dobbins week. We talked about it before. He's had good matchups. We have Mark Ingram, who's coming off the COVID list. They didn't know what to do on Wednesday against the Steelers in terms of their backfield. They were switching in Gus and what's his face?
Justice Hill.
Yeah, Justice Hill. So it didn't really seem like they had a real confidence in their backfield. So I think J.K. Dobbins is a great flex play this week against Dallas, who's been giving up a ton of points to the running backs. We saw what Antonio Gibson did. So J.K. Dobbins, I think, is a great play. We don't know if Mark Andrews is going to play this week. So I think that's something to monitor. But if he is, great play, obviously. You're playing Lamar. What about Hollywood Brown? He finally found the end zone. The most unlikely situation. Trace McSorley came in the fourth quarter, hit him with a 70-yard bomb. But what confidence do you have with Hollywood Brown?
Not a lot
I don't
of
have a
confidence.
lot, but I don't even know if you could play him against the Cowboys. That's how bad it is with him and Lamar, especially, who struggled passing. But
I'm
I don't
not
know.
gonna put him back on my starting lineup just because he had one good play that ended up in a touchdown.
Yeah,
That's fair.
All right,
He
guys.
hasn't earned it, is what I'm saying.
I agree 100%.
He hasn't made it big in Hollywood yet.
No.
I get it. I
Well,
feel
that does it for our matchups. Good luck to everybody fighting for that playoff spot. If you guys
Thank you. I need
have any lineup questions for the most critical week of the year so far, make sure you send them into our socials, Instagram, Facebook, the Twitter, whatever is most comfortable for you. We'll try to help you guys out setting your lineup for this week. But make sure you check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, as well as YouTube. Give us a like, give us a follow, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
See ya. It's always one.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but my name said your mom for like the first 20 minutes.
It doesn't show up.
Oh, it doesn't?
Nope.
Oh,